Before you write a single word, you need to know exactly what the question is asking. In this outcome, we'll learn how to take any assignment question apart and work out what it really demands of you. Over the next few slides, we'll practice pulling a question apart to find its precise meaning. You'll learn to spot the command words that tell you how to write and to pin down the key terms and concepts you'll need to understand. Think of this as the planning stage, well before you start drafting, and the time you invest here pays you back handsomely in marks. It might feel like a delay, but analysing the question is where marks are won or lost. Most of the time, when students lose marks, it's because they answered a slightly different question from the one that was set. And even a beautifully written essay on the wrong topic will still fail. Careful analysis keeps every paragraph on target, telling you what to include, what to leave out, and how deeply to think. Markers reward the answer that addresses the exact task in front of them. Start by reading the question slowly, at least twice, and then put it into your own words to check you've really understood it. Underline every word that carries weight and ask yourself two questions. What is the topic, and what is the particular focus? Check the scope too, how wide or narrow the question is. And if any word is unclear, look it up before you plan, not halfway through writing. Questions often ask for more than they say on the surface. An implication is something the question quietly requires of you, and a single question can carry several demands at once. It helps to list every implication and then work through them one at a time. Watch for limits of time, place, group, or topic, and notice any assumption the question is making. Plan a response to each part before you commit anything to the page. Let's work through a real example. Take the question, discuss the impact of social media on the mental health of teenagers in the UK. The command word, discuss, asks you to weigh different views and reach a balanced position. The topic is the impact of social media, and the focus is mental health specifically, not general well-being or grades. Notice the limits too. Teenagers, not adults or children, and the UK, so UK evidence is expected. And because it says impact, you'd show both the positive and the negative effects. Put together, the question wants a balanced, UK-focused discussion of the good and the harmful effects on teenagers' mental health alone. Command words are the instruction verbs in a question, and they control the kind of thinking you have to show. Get the command word wrong, and you change the whole shape of your answer. You'll meet words like analyze, explore, examine and discuss, as well as evaluate and compare. Whatever else you do, identify the command word first. Each command word asks for something different. Analyze means break a topic into its parts and show how they connect. Explore asks you to investigate an idea from several angles, while examine means look closely and in detail. Discuss wants you to weigh different views and reach a balanced conclusion. Evaluate asks you to judge value or worth using evidence, and compare calls for the similarities and differences between things. Match your structure to whichever word you're given. Let's fix a few terms in your mind. The command word is the instruction verb that tells you what to do with the topic. An implication is a demand or limit the question requires but doesn't state directly. Scope is how wide or narrow the question is, in topic, time, place, or group. And focus is the precise angle the question wants you to concentrate on. Suppose a question says, analyze the causes of homelessness. What does analyze actually require? It asks you to break the topic into parts, and here those parts are the separate causes, things like loss of income or relationship breakdown. You'd identify each cause, explain how it leads to homelessness, and then, crucially, show how the causes connect to and affect one another. The mistake to avoid is simply listing them. To analyze is to separate, explain, and reveal the links, not just describe. Two command words are worth a closer look. Compare needs a clear structure that handles both items, discussing their similarities and differences point by point. Evaluate asks for a judgment backed by evidence. You'd set out strengths, then weaknesses, and reach a reasoned conclusion, never just an unsupported opinion. And do check whether two command words appear together in the same question, as they often do. Keywords are the subject-specific words in a question, and they point to the concepts you must understand and use. Underline the nouns that name ideas, not just the general topic. Be alert too, because some words carry a special meaning within a subject, so don't assume the everyday meaning is the right one. It's worth building a short list of terms to define before you start writing. A concept is an idea that carries a particular meaning within a subject. The same word can mean quite different things from one field to another. Power means one thing in politics and something else entirely in physics. So use a subject dictionary or your module glossary to check and interpret each term the way your own subject uses it. Getting that interpretation right is what keeps your answer relevant. A few more terms to hold on to. A keyword is a subject-specific word in a question that signals a concept you need to address. A concept is an abstract idea with a defined meaning within a subject area. To interpret is to work out and explain the correct meaning of a term or question. And a glossary is simply a list of subject terms with their agreed definitions. Imagine you meet the term well-being in a health module question. First, recognize that it's a key concept, not just a topic, and resist the vague everyday sense of feeling okay. Check the module glossary or a subject text, and you'll find that well-being covers physical, mental, and social health together. Confirm that definition fits the question, and then use that precise meaning consistently throughout your answer, rather than a loose everyday one. Let's pause and check your understanding. What's the difference between the topic and the focus of a question? Can you name 3 command words and say what each one requires? Why shouldn't you rely on the everyday meaning of a key term? And what does it mean to consider each implication in turn? Have a think before you move on. As you check terms during planning, get into the habit of noting where you found each one. That small step lets you reference your sources accurately later. Harvard referencing is the common system in academic writing. In the text, you give the author and year, and a full reference goes in your reference list at the end. Good notes now save you from hunting for lost references later. Let's build a Harvard reference for a book. Say it's the 2019 5th edition of The Study Skills Handbook by Stella Cottrell, published by Red Globe Press in London. Start with the author's surname and initial Cottrell, S. Add the year in brackets, then the title in italics. Next comes the edition, 5th edition, and finally the place of publication and publisher, London, Red Globe Press. Put together, it reads, Cottrell S. 2019, The Study Skills Handbook, 5th edition, London, Red Globe Press. A word about AI tools. They can be genuinely helpful for understanding a tricky term, but use them to check meaning, not to write your answer for you. Remember that you are responsible for everything you submit, and AI can be confidently wrong, so always verify with a trusted source. Your college will have rules on acceptable AI use, so follow your tutor's guidance. So where's the line? It's perfectly acceptable to use AI to explain a command word in simple terms, to suggest a term you might look up in a real source, to check your own understanding, or to help you plan questions to research. What's not acceptable is having it generate your essay, copying its text and passing it off as your own, trusting its facts without checking, or hiding that you used it when the rules require you to declare it. Suppose you used an AI chatbot to explain the command word evaluate while planning. How do you declare it honestly? First, check your college's policy on declaring AI use. Then add a short note stating what you used it for, naming the tool, the date, and what you asked. Don't present any of its wording as your own and reference it in Harvard style as your college requires. For instance, you might write, I used an AI tool on the 4th of August 2026 to explain the command word evaluate. The analysis and writing are my own. Here's a checklist you can use on any question. Read it twice and reword it in your own voice. Underline the command word and define exactly what it wants. List every implication and limit. Identify the keywords and subject concepts, and check each concept's meaning in a trusted source. Only once you've done all of that should you begin planning your paragraphs. And a few common traps to sidestep: ignoring the command word and simply describing, answering a wider question than the one actually set, missing a second demand hidden in the wording, falling back on the everyday meaning of a subject term, starting to write before you've analysed the question, and forgetting to note the sources you used while checking terms. Being aware of these makes them far easier to avoid. Time for another quick check. Can you write out in order the 5 steps for analysing a question? Give one acceptable and one unacceptable use of AI in planning. How would you reference a book by a single author in Harvard style? And why does answering a wider question than the one set cost you marks? Take a moment with these before we finish.